So we definitely need to know how to identify different parts of speech. Okay, so nouns, we need to know that nouns are supposed to be people, places, or things. Okay, and there's 6 different kinds of um there are 6 different kinds of nouns. There's common, proper, concrete, abstract, collective, and compound. Now, the TEAS is not going to expect you to identify the different types of nouns. You just need to be able to identify them in general. Okay, so it's just going to help be able to identify them just in general. Okay, so common nouns are common nouns are just supposed to be very general people, places, or things. So markers, skateboard, cell phone, bike trail, and shoelaces. Those are just very general people, places, and things. Okay, now for proper nouns, we need to know that proper nouns are supposed to be specific people, places, or things. So, for example, Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is a specific ocean. Mardi Gras is a specific holiday. Phoenix is a specific city. And then SpongeBob is a specific character. And then Mercedes-Benz is a specific brand of car. Okay, so as long as it's specific, then it's considered a proper noun. Okay, now let's take a look at the difference between concrete and abstract nouns. So concrete nouns, we need to know that those are things that have a physical existence and that physically touch. So for example, even if it's something that you can't see, as long as it still physically exists, it's still considered concrete. Okay, so for example, soccer ball, that's definitely something that physically exists. Um, controller, that's a concrete noun because that physically exists. Pizza, toothpick, notebook, those are all still concrete nouns because they all still physically exist. Even things that you don't see, like oxygen and air, those are still concrete nouns because oxygen does physically exist. And then the same thing with air. That also is still considered concrete because it still physically exists. Okay. Abstract nouns, though, we need to know that abstract nouns are things that do not physically exist. They are things like feelings, ideas, characteristics, or qualities. Okay, so for example, like happiness, sadness, madness, ideas like love, peace, health, and then characteristics. So think characteristics and qualities. Um, think about like personality traits. So, like honesty, beauty, intelligence, um, humility, grace. Those would also all be still abstract nouns, but they're still nouns. Okay, so a lot of abstract nouns will end with a certain suffix. Okay, so for example, like ism, like nationalism, or things like optimism, pessimism, things that end in tion. So aggravation, motivation, frustration, elation, determination, completion, and then right, motivation. Okay, things that end in ment, argument, compliment, things that end in age, okay, like courage, things that end in ity, like personality, quality, fragility, things that end in ship, friendship, relationship, craftsmanship, um, workmanship. Okay, and then things that end in ness, kindness, happiness, sadness, madness. Okay, and then things that end in ance, like allowance or compliance. Things that end in th, such as strength. And then things that end in ENCE, like science, or I'm sorry, silence, or persistence. Okay. All right, but the main thing is that all of these are still just things. Okay, now for collective nouns. Okay, so um, collective nouns are supposed to name groups of people or things. Okay, so here in the top, they're giving examples with animals, but usually on the TEAS, it's not going to be involving animals. Okay, so let me give any more examples of collective nouns. So an example of a collective noun would be like a family, a jury, class, board, committee, society, team, troop, army, faculty, any kind of group of people. Okay, so the tricky part about collective nouns is that collective nouns can be singular or plural, just depending on the context. So collective nouns are singular when everyone is doing the same thing in the same place at the same time. Let me write this down. Or they're in unison or in agreement. And so if they're in agreement, it's like they have one mind, they're making one decision, they have one opinion. So for that person, it's the team plays its final game. I'm pretty sure everyone probably would be playing the same game in the same place at the same time. Okay, so that's why we use the singular verb plays. And notice we also use the singular pronoun its. Notice that actually does not say the team plays their final game. Why? Because it's, well, okay, there is plural. But yet its needs to be because the team is all doing the same thing in the same place at the same time. That's why we use the singular pronoun its. Okay, now okay, so collective nouns are plural though when everyone is doing different things in different places at different times. Or basically everyone is doing things separately, or they are in disagreement and they all have different minds. They want to make different decisions because they have different opinions. Okay, so in this case, the team must wash their new uniforms. I highly doubt that everyone is all washing the same exact uniform in the same exact place at the same exact time. They're probably washing their uniforms in different places at different times, separately, like in different homes, in different ways. And so because of that, that's why it needs to be plural now. Now it's okay for it to be plural. Okay, so now we can use the plural verb must wash and the plural verb there. Okay, now let me bring up just a couple questions on just identifying nouns in general.
Her,
Is that a person, place, or thing?
uh, her is a person.
No, it's not. So if it said anything like he, she, it, they, him, her, those are pronouns. They take the place of a noun. So if it said Grace's strength, then Grace would be a noun. But her is like replacing, for example, Grace. It's not the actual noun. So it should be strength. Strength is a thing. Strength is an abstract noun. Abstract nouns are always very difficult for many people to identify because they're not something that you can usually, they don't have a physical existence. But the point is that they are still things. Even if they don't physically exist, they are still things.
Um, Diego and idea, king and power, mornings and exercise, Friday and surprises, safety and important.
There's only one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. I would have got it wrong.
That's okay.
So safety for this one. Gabriel and imagination, information and helpful. Oh, information, idea, story, life, inventor, August, September, relief, experiment, surprising. Oh,
Experiment was correct.
oh,
Surprising is not a thing, but a result is a thing.
yes. Cause and fire, effects, storm, town, vacation, days, preparation, dinner, spirit, mood, vacation, Peru, experience, grandfather, knowledge, power, news, people, joy, Brittany, years,
So yes, Brittany
ooh,
and yours was one, but yes, friendship is still another one.
that's true. Earthquakes, effects, environment, minutes, hours, days, parents, love, support, system improvement, judge, truth, crime,
Okay, that's good enough for nouns. Okay, so now let's go over pronouns. So like I mentioned, pronouns are supposed to take the place of nouns in sentences. And honestly, they make our speech less repetitive. There are different kinds of nouns. So, for example, we have I like broccoli, we went home, he is the coach. So, um, I basically subject pronouns, right? Like I said, they are literally subjects of a sentence. Okay, so I is a subject, we is a subject, and then he is a subject. Okay, so okay now yeah, so basically I is a subject, we is a subject, he is a subject. Okay, then object pronouns. Object pronouns are supposed to literally act like objects of sentences. They receive action. Subject pronouns are supposed to perform the action, and object pronouns receive action. So, for example, me is receiving the action of being liked. I offered to drive him home. The him is receiving the offer of the ride home. And then listen to them. So the them is being listened to. Okay, then this book is mine. Okay, so the mine is showing ownership or possession of the books. And then ours is showing ownership or possession of the house. And then is that yours? So the yours is showing ownership or possession of, well, we don't know what. Okay, now basically, again, the main thing is to just know that words like mine, ours, yours, his, hers, theirs, me, you, him, her, it, them, those are pronouns. The same thing with subject pronouns. Again, the most important thing is to know that they are also pronouns. Okay, then for indefinite pronouns, again, for right now, we just need to know that they're pronouns. We do not need to know um, really too much about whether they're singular or plural. But we just need to know that words like someone, somebody, something, anyone, anybody, anything, no one, nobody, nothing, everyone, everybody, everything, and then both, few, many, and several are also pronouns. And then the same thing for any, all, most, none, and some are also pronouns. And then the next one is this, that, these, and those. This, that, these, and those are also pronouns. So a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, those are pronouns. Okay, and then let's take a look at reflexive and intensive pronouns. Okay, so for reflexive and intensive pronouns, those are words that end in self or selves. So, for example, myself, yourself, himself, herself. Those are also types of pronouns. Okay, now in addition to just being able to recognize pronouns, it's more important that we need to understand how to use pronouns correctly. Okay, so most of the time when there's only one pronoun in the sentence, people can pretty easily recognize when it's incorrect. Okay, so for example, me worked on the project with he. Most people can tell, oh, it should be I worked on the project with him. Okay, yeah, I worked on the project with him. And then Diane gave she a lift home. Okay. And then Diane gave she a lift home. Most people know that it should be Diane gave her a lift home. Okay. Okay, but people start to get confused when you have two people. Okay, so let's say we have this a sentence like the new machinist worked with. Okay, so the new machinist worked with Kirsten and I. So what you do is most people do not recognize that this is actually incorrect to say the new machinist worked with Kirsten and I. Okay, so what you can do is in order to recognize it, you need to replace the and with a period. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to make two different sentences. And then the first sentence is just going to have the first person. Okay, so the first, like I said, the first sentence is just going to have the first person. So the new machinist worked with Kirsten, that's fine. Okay, now the second sentence is just going to have the second person. Okay, so the new machinist worked with I. That doesn't make sense to say the new machinist worked with I. So it should be the new machinist worked with me. Okay. So right, the final correct answer then should be the new machinist worked with Kirsten and me. Okay. Now let me show you a couple more examples because it's not always going to be changing the I to the me. So let's say, oh wait, hold on. So when you're using this technique of when you're hold on, when you're turning it into two different sentences, please do not worry about like verb agreement or anything like that. You can change that. The focus is on whether we're using the correct pronoun. Okay, now um the first sentence, remember, has the first person. So it doesn't make sense to say, oh, actually, hold on, I need to change the order. It shouldn't be me and Michelle. It should be Michelle and me. Okay, there we go. Michelle are going camping this weekend. I know that R doesn't make sense, but I'm not worried about that because I'm more focused on whether Michelle is being used correctly. So Michelle is going camping this weekend is fine. Okay, and then me are going camping this weekend. Even if you said me is going camping, that still doesn't make sense. So like I said, the second sentence needs to have just the second person. So it should be I am going camping this weekend. Okay. Now let me do one last example. Wait, the new boss assigned he. Here we go. The new boss assigned he and I a different campaign. So basically, you're going to replace the and with a period. Okay, so the first sentence needs to have the first person. The new boss assigned he uh, a different campaign. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so it should be the new boss assigned him a different campaign. Okay, so now the second sentence needs to have just the second person. So the new boss assigned I a different campaign. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so the new boss assigned me a different campaign. Okay, so that, like I said, that's the main trick is that when you have an and, you make two different sentences, the first sentence with the first person, and then the second sentence with the second person, and then that can help you figure out the correct pronoun. Okay, let me bring up some questions.
Him, her.
Make sure to replace
Oh,
the and with a period and make two separate sentences. So the first sentence needs to have the first person. So is it true that blank moved to Ashland? We would need to say, well, does it make sense to say, is it true that her moved to Ashland? Or is it true that she moved to Ashland? Oh, it would be she. And then the second sentence needs to have just the second person. So you ignore the she and you're just checking Uncle Alec, which is fine.
we, me,
So again, replace it with an and. And then I'm sorry, replace the and with a period, and you absolutely have to split it into two sentences. So the first sentence has only the first person, so you're going to ignore the and I. So the layout editor want to schedule a photo shoot. Okay, that makes sense. Then the second sentence needs to only have the second person. Okay, so in other words, we're going to ignore the layout editor and we're going to look at
Oh,
either I or me. And we need to think, okay, would we say I want to schedule a photo shoot or me want to schedule a photo shoot? So it would be I.
them. Him. Her. Oh,
There we go. Yeah, she. She
yeah,
might enjoy
I
watching this
got it
cooking
right at
show.
the end. Us. Them. I. Him. Her. They. I. Him. We. Her. Them. Me, him, us, her,
Okay. All right, so pronouns, that's one thing with pronouns. Okay, all right, now let's take a look at ambiguous pronoun reference. Okay, so for ambiguous pronoun reference, that happens when there is a pronoun being used in the sentence, but it's not really clear who or what the pronoun is referring to. Okay, so for example, we have as Claude spoke to his girlfriend's father, he was very nervous. So we have a male pronoun he, but it really could be referring to Claude or the father. Okay, so the problem is that that sentence is now just flat out wrong because it's not clear if it's talking about Claude or the father. Okay, so basically we can't just assume that it's Claude who is very nervous. Okay, but yeah, it could be the father that was very nervous, like maybe the father was running late for a meeting. Maybe Claude is a very intimidating person. I don't know. Okay, so like I said, the sentence is just flat out wrong. We would need to completely rewrite the sentence. So basically, we might want to say Claude was very nervous as he spoke to his girlfriend's father. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so take the door from the frame and paint it. Okay, so if someone told me those instructions, I would be very confused because am I supposed to be painting the door or am I supposed to be painting the frame? Okay, so like, am I supposed to paint the door or the frame? And so, again, the sentence is then just flat out wrong. So we would need to rewrite the sentence um, to make the sentence correct. Okay, so maybe paint the door after taking it off the frame. Okay. All right, now, oh, let me see. I can bring up a few questions on that ambiguous pronoun reference.
The second sentence, the second sentence, the first sentence, the first sentence, the first sentence, the second sentence, the first sentence, the first sentence, the first sentence, the second sentence, the first sentence. Oh, oh,
Oh, because in the second sentence it says the mayor's office prevented them, but
Mhm.
who is the them? The citizens of Arlington or the competent city council members?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,